Good morning, my beautiful farm fam. You know, we talk a lot about God on this channel, and I thought it was so important to just come on and share this with you guys. This morning, my husband came into the house with a soaking wet turkey. And I don't know if you guys know or not, but we absolutely love our turkeys. They are so fun, and they have the cutest little personalities. They're just funny. And my husband came in with a soaking wet turkey because if you've been following our channel for any amount of time, you guys probably saw in the last video or two how the turkeys will go to our pond and they'll bend over and they'll drink from the pond. And lately, our pond has been losing some water. I don't know why or like what's been going on. There's probably something's leaking, and my husband seems to think that the leak is coming from the fountain that's on it. Turn you guys around so you can see what I'm talking about. So my husband thinks that the fountain part here is leaking in the back somewhere. He just filled up the pond again. Is he still filling it? No. So he just filled up the pond. It was probably down about a good, 4 inches. So when the pond is like this and the animals drink from the sides like a turkey, it's fine because they can reach the water easily. Well, the turkey tried reaching for the water, and we don't know what happened. He obviously fell in, couldn't reach the water, lost his gripping somehow, whatever. And my husband found him, grabbed him, put him in a towel, brought him inside the house, and we put him underneath the heat lamp, which is, thankfully, we have a heat lamp in our house right now because we have the baby chicks in the house. But he was very lethargic. I say he, I don't know if it's the boy or girl, but it was very lethargic. I didn't think he was going to make it, to be honest with you, but little by little started to pull through. The heat lamp is definitely a 100% plus. If you ever have an animal that is super wet, super cold, obviously it's still cold outside. This morning I think it was 55 degrees. So it was chilly. Not as cold as it has been, thank God, but it was still very chilly. And, you know, turkeys don't swim. So I think my husband caught him just in time. I don't think he caught him just when it happened. I think he struggled for a little bit and then finally lost his fight and put his head under. But I do think that my husband caught him before he actually drowned. I don't think he was completely drowned. We didn't have to resuscitate him. There was no water that came out of his mouth or anything like that. But let me show you. He was very lifeless. He was fighting for his life. Very quiet, wouldn't move, just completely out of it. After getting some heat into him, it's only been probably about maybe 45 minutes or so. I don't even think it's been that long, maybe 30 minutes. But this is the point that we got him to.
How you feeling? Oh, yes. Okay.
So,
he just wants to relax.
See, he's moving his neck. He was just sleeping. My husband woke him up. I don't know why, but he's resting and relaxing. He's chirping. When he was coming back to, he was basically in there just spinning around in circles, trying to get the feeling back in his feet. It was a very traumatic experience, not only for him, obviously, but also for us. But look, he's pruning himself. The kids were still home. They were just about ready to get onto the bus. So actually, it has been a while. They were on the bus at 7:30. It's now 8:43. So, look, he's even wanting to eat. This is amazing. Alexia is going to be so happy. Zion doesn't really care. He likes the animals, but he doesn't really care about the animals like Alexia does. But you guys, this guy was practically dead just an hour ago. And look, he's eating, babe. Yeah. So, yep. So he's just going to hang out in here, but I'm feeling so blessed and overwhelmed that,
Okay, buddy.
that he's doing good. So y'all, this morning, this is what we've been dealing with, but I am overjoyed with just how well this little guy is doing. So during the summertime, there was a duckling that fell in the pond, and I, just kept on shaking it, rubbing it with a towel, just rubbing, trying to get, life back into this little duck. But that was different because it was summertime. It was already hot outside. But this is a hyperthermia situation where I think that was more of like a drowning situation. The little duck, obviously it's a duck, it can swim, but it was having a hard time getting out of the pond because at that time it was too small and it couldn't get up like the rest of the little ducklings. They all went in the pond and they did just fine getting out, but this little duckling was a little on the chubbier side. It was one of the bigger ducklings and it just had a really hard time getting up. But it came back to life was my point. It took some time, rubbing it, and finally it jumped up and ran off with its mom. And this is kind of like the same situation, except for the fact that we have more of a connection with these turkeys. Like, these turkeys are our pets, and they know that they're our pets. They follow us. They're just cool. I can't explain it. They're just really, really neat animals. So I know Alexia, she loves these turkeys. Like, she really, really loves these turkeys. But yeah, so she's going to be super excited when she comes home. And of course, right now we have him in with the, you see he's walking and everything. So not walking much. He's still a little unstable on his feet. Yeah, he's tired. He's exhausted. You have to remember, he was just about dead. I'm not kidding you. Like, if he didn't catch him when he caught him, he would have definitely died.
He was drowned.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
His head was just in the water.
Yeah.
Well, they might not hit him.
So he's going to hang out with the baby chicks. So funny. He's used to hanging. I say he again. I don't know if this is the male or female, but they are used to hanging out with baby chicks. So it's not like there's going to be like an attacking type situation or maybe a small peck or something here and there. But yeah, like hey, move it kind of thing, but nothing serious. They are very used to the smaller chicks. He's doing so good. Oh my gosh, you guys. I'm so just overwhelmed with happiness right now. But that's what I was saying is, so this morning we're dealing with this, and yesterday we were dealing with another situation. Yesterday morning after the kids went to school, we got a notification from a realtor that they wanted to show the house last night. Somebody wanted to see the house. It was going to be at 5 o'clock. Zion gets off the bus at 4:30. So we were like, cool, no problem. That'll give us plenty of time. 4:45 runs around, still no Zion. 5 o'clock runs around, still no Zion. We still let the people come to the house, but we're waiting out at our driveway, waiting for the bus to come to drop off Zion. I don't have a phone number of the bus driver. I don't have a phone number to kind of anybody. They have a new principal, so I don't have the new, literally they just got a new principal when school started back up from winter break. So I don't have the new principal's name. I don't have his number. All I have is my son's regular school teacher's information. So I'm calling her and I'm like, listen, Zion's not home yet. I don't know who to call or who to contact, and I don't know what's going on here. So finally, about 5:10, after many phone calls and calling the, principal and stuff like that, we got in touch with him. He called me, yada, yada. Long story short, we've got Zion home. He got off the bus about 5:10. It was a substitute bus driver who's actually retired, and he was just filling in for the aftercare program. It's not aftercare. It's a Reading Plus program kind of thing. And so it was a mess. I was like a turmoiled mother not knowing where my child was. I'm sure you guys can understand how devastating that might feel. But he came home safe. He got the bus driver, and that's the thing. So he didn't know this bus driver. The bus driver didn't know him, and his name, Zion's name, was not on the list of the kids that are supposed to be dropped off. So Zion was trying to get himself home by telling this bus driver where he lived, but they were coming from a different area. They weren't coming directly from the school, so he wasn't sure where he was at in order to get him home properly. So the bus driver at like around 5 o'clock, I guess, went back to the school to see if anybody was at the school, but because he is not a regular bus driver or even he's a bus driver. He's a retired bus driver, you know. But anyways, he's not used to the way the school functions and stuff like that, and didn't know that there was the aftercare program that was still going on in the back of the school. So he said that when he went to the school, nobody was there, and it would appear that nobody was at the school. But when they went back to the school and then started heading back to the house, Zion was able to direct him to tell him where he lived. But man, I tell you, poor Zion, he didn't cry or anything like that, but he said he was so scared. He said he didn't know what to do. So I felt horrible. The bus driver felt horrible. He didn't know why his name wasn't on the list and stuff like that. But anyways, my point in telling you this situation is, one, I want to be completely open and honest with you guys about what goes on in our life, and you know that we have trials and tribulations just like everybody else. And you know, we know that when stuff like this happens to us, when we're having death on the farm, or you know, we're having plumbing issues, or whatever the case is, anything at all. It doesn't matter what it could possibly be. My husband hasn't had work, you know, like it could be anything. We know when we are getting tested like this, the devil is coming at us to see if he can switch in our head to make us go against God. But we know better, because we know that the devil's schemes, and we know what his plans are in this world. It is to kill, steal, and destroy. And right now he's trying to destroy our faith. But little does he know that we are very faithful to our God, and we know that God has got our back regardless, that no matter what happens, we know that God has a bigger plan for us. So with that being said, the good plan is, I think, is that the people who came to the house last night really loved the house. We do have a camera in our kitchen, so we can hear a little. Like, you can't hear everything because it gets a little distorted. But it is our right to have a camera. So, and actually, it was suggested to put a camera if we had one, maybe somewhere, you know, and listen to see if we can hear anything. It's kind of like a real estate tactic kind of thing. But anyways, we heard some really great things. They absolutely loved our house. They loved all of the character that the house had, and they just could not stop talking about the house. And our realtor already contacted us this morning that they seem interested. So I'm pretty confident that we're going to get an offer. And we have an offer that we're still kind of in the middle of negotiations with, but we haven't completely signed over on anything yet, because we're just kind of holding out a little bit, which is a good reason, because obviously it's possible that we're going to have another offer on the table. So good things are happening. You know, it's like the way that you weather the storm will determine the outcome. If there's a storm coming at you and you start getting depressed and down and angry, or, you know, that's the devil coming in to steal and destroy, right? So if you allow those feelings to overcome you, or, you know, stuff like that, you're going to lose out. But if you weather the storm with high hopes, knowing that there's a bright light at the end of the tunnel, you know, that whole you know, keeping faith, keeping good attitude, if you can weather the storm that way, I'm telling you, the reward at the end of that storm is going to be so marvelous that you won't even be able to fathom what God can do for you. So just kind of give you guys an idea of what we've been dealing with for the last 2 days. And yeah, so. Are you still eating? Huh, Turk? My goodness. How can you be so hungry? What a good baby. You're such a good baby. Yeah. Sneeze it out. Actually, if I had to guess, I think this one is the girl. Because this was the one that, if you can see on the back of the neck here, the new feathers have been plucked out. And I think it's the male that is plucking out her feathers. So I am pretty certain that this one is actually the female. Yeah. And I think also by looking at the feather pattern here, if you can see how that is sticking out a little bit. Aren't you burning your head? Get your head out of there, lady. My goodness. But yeah, I believe this is the female. And she's doing great though. That's it for today. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. And until next time, you guys be blessed. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.